Yo, what's up? Good. What's going on, YouTube? This is Boxingwave. Please subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button. Share the video if you can. Um, all right, let's get right into it, man. I basically wanted to do a quick wave report today and discuss some of the news or some of the things that's been happening in the last couple of days, and then go and talk a little bit more about Jerron Boots Ennis against Cody Crowley. And well, if that's going to be his actual next fight. Okay, I just did a video as soon as the news broke yesterday. I did a video on Jerron Ennis and his signing with Matchroom Boxing. And if you haven't seen that, check that out. Also, I did a video just basically breaking down all of the things that I have here in the background. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to check that out too. I just want to say, I know certain items that I did pick up, it didn't look that clear on camera. All right, I didn't realize it until after I rewatched it that some of the items that I picked should I put closer to the camera. But it is what it is, man. I did the best that I could, and I hope you guys enjoyed that video. What's up, Aaron? What's good with you, man? How's it going? Aaron asked me if I would go to an AJ versus Parker fight in New Zealand. Going to New Zealand is definitely on my list. It's actually high on my list of places to go to, not just for boxing, but I'm always looking to go and travel to see a fight. So if it made sense, and then if I can get good tickets to go, and the schedule is good, I'm always willing. You guys know that I travel a lot, so I am willing to do that, especially because I've had New Zealand on the list. I don't think that fight would happen there. If we're being real, I just don't think that AJ is gonna go to Parker's territory to fight there. I think if it doesn't happen on British soil, it's probably gonna happen in Saudi Arabia. Just my opinion. But we're definitely going to talk a little bit about AJ and Parker too, and just go through some of the options there between the heavyweights, the top heavyweights that are available, depending on what happens with Usyk and Tyson Fury. All right. All right. So let's start out with the first topic of the day, and that's Stephen Fulton. All right, Stephen Scooter Fulton from 122, former unified champion down at 122, had lost to Naoya Inoue last year. He posted on Twitter today and said that he's going to be returning to boxing. He didn't say when, where, but he is prepping. I did see that he took a little break from social media. So I don't know if he's just mentally trying to get back in the game. I don't know if he's training again. I'm hoping he's training and staying somewhat fit. But he plans on returning. And, I actually was just thinking about him not too long ago. I wanted to make a video on him, or at least talk about him on a video about him possibly returning. I didn't want him to go too long. I know the first loss was hard. It was a bad loss. He basically got destroyed. He got demolished. And I know that probably killed his confidence a little bit, because he was very confident going into that fight. He really wanted to fight. And look, man, and this is why I try not to go so hard when people take losses. It's very rare. Like, I could think of when Josue Vargas lost, right, to Jose Cepeda. Those were one of the times where I laughed, because he was acting like a clown going into the fight, and it was unnecessary. It wasn't even that kind of opponent, but just talking shit, as far as like being, not really talking shit, but more so being confident and really pushing for the fight. And he got the fight that he wanted. And even though he didn't show up that night, even though it was a bad performance, I still like the fact that he went and flew to Japan to fight Inoue out there and go for it for one of the best fighters in the world. And I don't think it's cool that the Inoue fans, because they still leave comments on my videos about that fight. And what you don't understand is the Inoue fans should appreciate that fight happening and the opponent and respect them, because if it wasn't for that win, Inoue wouldn't have been able to make history by becoming a 2-division champion. And not only that, but exposing all the doubters. There was going into that fight, there were a lot of doubters. There was a lot of people that were hating on him for years, saying that he didn't fight anyone but Nonito Donaire. A lot of people didn't think he was proven leading up to that fight. And I know that sounds crazy to many of you now, but that was a real thing for years. Some people really dismissed him being a pound-for-pound fighter until that fight. Again, I know it sounds crazy after the fight, but that fight needed to happen. And you got to give credit to both of them, even Errol Spence. I mean, how many years did we go back and forth? I made countless videos about Errol Spence and his following. Him, the PBC, the excuses. And I was supportive of Terrence Crawford. But when Errol lost, right, as fired up, as excited that I was that Terrence won, at the end of the day, I still said, like, I'm glad Spence took the fight, because he could have just rolled this out. A lot of Spence fans didn't even want the fight. They were saying that Spence is too big for Bud, that he should have never agreed to those terms. So I have to give credit to Spence. I have to give credit to Scooter for taking those challenges, because even though I know a lot of you care more about them being PBC more than anything, but I'm happy that he took the challenge, because if it wasn't for Fulton, and if Fulton ducked Inoue, he Inoue wouldn't have been able to win those belts in one fight like the way that he did, in the fashion that he did. So you got to give credit, and I am glad that he's coming back. Where exactly is he coming back to fight at? Is it going to be at 126? Is it going to be at 130? That's the question, because he has said that he's considering going to 130. He might go to 126 like he originally planned, but just think about it. I'm not trying to take anything away from Inoue. We know that he clearly won the fight. He was a better fighter. I'm not taking anything away. But looking at Fulton and knowing what he's capable of and the way that he's fighting, when you're fighting in a way that we don't normally see you fight, in that fight, especially early, he fought like a nervous fight. He fought like he was nervous. He fought like he wasn't ready for the moment. I know he thought he was, because he thought he had the talent to. Many of us thought he did, but he fought differently in that fight, and he fought nervous. He probably, even on his best night, he probably would have lost anyway. That's not the point that I'm making. The point is he was different in that fight, and being that he was already struggling to make 122, he's been fighting there for years. Going to 126 is definitely the way to go, but now he's been out for a year. Does he even want to fight at 126 anymore? I don't know. If he felt like he was drained in that fight, maybe he did. He might just skip 126 and go to 130. We just got to wait and see. Maybe his first fight back might be at a catch weight above 126 to see how he feels. And maybe if that's not working for him, maybe he'll cut back down to 126. There's a lot of options out there. I'm seeing people talking about Raymond Ford. They have sparred together. They're very familiar with each other. You know what I mean? That would be a good fight. The Raymond Ford fight would be a great fight. I mean, there's a lot of fights to be made at 126. You know what I mean? Let me just pull up. Let me put up Box Rec real quick and just see what we got here. Just because I don't want to Raymond. Let's spell this name out. I don't want to forget any names at 126. There's a lot of people, and I don't want to forget. I know originally he was supposed to fight Figueroa in a rematch. Brandon's going to be actually fighting on the Canelo on undercard. All right. So when we look at 126, there are fights there. Leewood is going to go up to 130. I don't know if he still is. Joe Cordina is scheduled for a fight. So if he goes up to 130, that might not be his first fight. But as far as right now, Luis Alberto Lopez is still at 126 and he's still a champion. Ray Vargas, just had that tough draw with Nick Ball. Many people believe Nick Ball won. I thought Nick Ball won the fight. All right, so you got Ray Vargas, you got Nick Ball. He's already beaten Angelo Leo. He can possibly fight Brandon Figueroa in a rematch at some point. Okay, you have Rafael Espinoza. You still have Robesi Ramirez. You have Raymond Ford, who I just mentioned. You have Ruben Villa. All right, so there's a lot of fighters that's still around. You know what I mean? And I don't know if he's going to fight a top dude on his first fight back, but I can see him fighting maybe like a Joet Gonzalez or something like that. Maybe a Raya Abe who had just he's the one that just lost to Luis Alberto Lopez. But I mean, if it's your first fight, those are the kind of fights you want to take coming off your first loss, especially when you get knocked out like that and going up to a new division, But you have a lot of fighters there. And if he skips that and goes straight to 130, which I don't know if that's a great idea. Like I said, I think he should, if he's planning on doing 130, maybe do a catch weight in between 130 or in 126, or fight a lower level fighter, a good journeyman, a tough journeyman at 130 before going straight to the very, very top. That's just my opinion on that. Mark says, looks like Scooter would be on the next Boots undercard in Philly. Yeah, and we're going to talk about Boots. All right, but Eddie Hearn is, he's talked about Boots. Obviously, he just signed him, and he's saying that he's looking to get him active. And he's also looking to have him fight in his hometown in Philly, which is it's the right thing to do. I think his last fight against Royman Villa was out in Philly too. I think that fight was in Philly. Maul says 126 is a good weight for Fulton. I don't know about 130. Not a deep division talent-wise, but it's a big jump. Yeah, it's not that deep. But when we're talking about the top-tier guys, they're pretty good. I don't think going straight there is great. But I can see him fighting above 126 in his next fight. It will probably, in his comeback fight, he'll probably fight somewhere in between 126, 130. Just to get the feeling off, you know what I mean? Get the feeling right and just shake off the cobwebs and get back in the ring. And once he starts to be a contender, I expect him to fight at 126. I brought up Raymond Ford, and I saw an interview online where Raymond Ford basically said that he wants to go to 130. He says he only wants to have maybe one more fight at 126. So he already wants to go up. You know what I mean? So again, if it's not Raymond Ford, there's a lot of other options out there. But Ford is a good fight. I don't know how much promotions and networks is going to get in the way for Scooter. But if it does, it's not like he doesn't have options with the PBC. There are options there with the PBC. And I don't even know if he's still on the contract with the PBC. That's another question. You just got to wait and see. All right, but we'll talk more about it. Again, I listed a lot of options for him. You know what I mean? And whatever he decides to do, whether he stays at 126 or 130, there are options there. Yeah. All right. Aaron, yeah, there are some good fights this weekend. You have a Jordan Gill fight on the Zone, and then you have the Jared Anderson card on ESPN, Top Rank. All right, so I will probably be here for the ESPN card. A lot of young up and coming guys is going to be on that card. Not amazing fights, but I think let's see. Hold on, let me pull it up. So Jared Anderson is going to be fighting Ryan Murray, the guy that beat Tony Yoka. All right, the last time. Yoka had like 3 losses in a row, right? Well, Ryad is the last guy that beat him. Efe Ajagba is going to be fighting Guido Vianello. All right, Vianello is the guy that was like a prospect coming up. Yes, rest in peace, OJ. Rest in peace, the Juice. But yeah, Vianello had lost to Jonathan Rice. I remember seeing that live. I can't remember what card it was, but good fight. Good fight for FA. All of these fights are good for FA. I don't view FA at the level of already Jared Anderson already. Frank Sanchez. We already know Frank beat him, but you know, I feel like FA is still trying to figure it out, but I don't see much improvements with each fight. Like he's fighting the right guys, but I'm not seeing much improvement, for him to like step up. I think FA is going to eventually get fed to maybe a Jared Anderson or someone else that they're trying to push harder. All right. But yeah, you got Robson Casesa is going to be returning on that card. I'm looking forward to that, especially after that performance against Navarrete. Like that made me. I mean, I respected him already because because of the Oscar Valdez fight, but I mean that fight with Navarrete has made me have an even higher respect for him. All right, hopefully he's good because he took a lot of damage. Hopefully he didn't lose a lot of punch resistance with that fight because he took a lot of damage there, even though he fought to the end. Ruben Villa is going to be on this card. Abdullah Mason is going to be on this card. So you got some good young talent on this card. So I will be covering that. I'll probably talk about this tomorrow evening before I go live and talk a little bit more about that card. All right. So let's move to the next topic, man. And I want to speak on Anthony Yarde. All right. So Anthony Yarde, either early this morning or late last night, he took to social media and he's basically saying like he was responding to Joshua Buatsi, who a few days ago he took to his social media asking Yarde directly what's going on. We have a venue, we have a date. It seems like everything is ready to go. We're just waiting on you. Now he said this publicly, and Yarde responded to him, said, "Listen, I am currently a free agent. Okay, I'm out of my contract, and we're just working on, I guess getting the best contract for this fight." This was his response. What's up, Gio? And it came to be big news because it's like, how did that happen right while you're in the negotiation stage? And you're trying to work everything out with Boxer. You're currently signed with Frank Warren. You're with Queensberry. You've been with Frank for a while. How do we go from they're working on a fight with Boxer and Bin Shalom to now you're a free agent, you're out of contract, your contract expired? So I don't know what's going on. But Frank Warren already replied to him today, stating how disappointing he is with Yarde coming out and making that video. Now, he did confirm that there are some issues. He didn't want to go into detail about those issues. But it seems like he's saying that they're still under contract and he doesn't want to, have to defend that legally, So I didn't like hearing that. Every time I hear like the promoter and the boxer battling each other about their contract, I think of Andre Ward. I think of Mikey Mikey Garcia back in the day with Bob Arum and top rank. I think of like all the boxers that got benched because they was going through some promotional issues, and I don't want that to happen with Yarde. I really want this fight with Joshua Buatsi, but what I don't want is there to be like, I just don't want this to turn into a whole lawsuit thing. And now Yarde is stuck in a contract. He can't fight somewhere else. And now he's waiting to clear everything up with Frank. And I don't want this to turn ugly. So whatever the truth is, because Yarde is saying one thing and Frank is saying another, but Frank did acknowledge that there is an issue. I'm thinking that there's something that's happening that they're still trying to work out. I'm sure the problem is money. Maybe the money that Yarde was offered to take this fight with Boxer wasn't what he was looking for. I really don't know. All right. But it seems like they're trying to sort it out. And it looked like Frank was disappointed at the fact that he went public with it. And I think Yarde was probably just replying to Buatsi on why, everything is taking so long. Because I'm assuming what happens is Buatsi goes public, puts the ball in your court, puts the pressure on you by saying like, yo, we're waiting on you. What's going on over there? And everybody's probably going crazy on Yarde's social media. Everybody's reaching out. He's getting phone calls. The whole world is probably hitting him up like, yo, what's going on? You fighting Josh? You hope you're not ducking. And now he replied, but he's saying that he's having contract issues, or he's saying his contract expired, which Frank is saying that's not true. I don't know what the truth is. I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens. All I know is that I really want to fight. But I do know that Yarde has already had 2 big fights. We got to remember when he fought Kovalev, up until that point, he really didn't fight anybody, like no major guys. That was a huge step up in opposition. Kovalev was still champ at the time. And he jumped up straight to Kovalev, and he got paid a lot of money. I don't remember the exact amount, but he was in the millions to fight Kovalev. And Yarde is like, yo, I want to fight, but Yarde is about the money at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So look, it's all about the business. I hope everything works out. I don't know if the fight is going to really happen, but at the end of the day, I just want to say that I don't want it to be messy. You know what I mean? Like Yarde, Tundi, Frank, whatever y'all got to work it out. And work it out before this whole Boxer thing, But if he is truly a free agent, that changes things, because he can just sign with Boxer if they're going to pay him exclusively to get that fight and other fights. But it's not that many options there too. This is what I'm saying. I don't know, like when you look at 175, everybody's all over the place. You Top Rank have their stable. Matchroom has theirs. Boxer has theirs. Queensberry has theirs. Everybody's kind of mixed up there. So signing a multi-fight deal with anyone, I would just assume that you have to, pay as much as you can. All right. But we just gotta wait and see. There's nothing official yet. Yarde is saying one thing and Frank is saying another. So we gotta just wait and see who's really right. But there is an issue there, because Frank confirmed like there is something there, but I don't want to go into the detail. But he's saying still he's under contract. All right. And he's willing to defend that legally if he has to. But he said he's hoping things don't go there. You know what I mean? All right. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Who's here? Aaron. Shout out to Aaron Maker. Shout out to you, brother. Marcus here. Malnourished here. Beth Amio. I was about to say Animal. Saga is here. High Top is here. Elixir is here. GL Teach. Little Bernie. What's up, everyone? Yeah, I don't know. I know I don't come late at night often. You know, I usually do my videos live early unless I'm covering a fight. But I had to get on here and chop it up with you guys. Little Bernie, what's up? He says, "What's up, Wade? Sorry, I haven't been here in a while. Hope you're doing well and excited for all the boxing coming up." Yeah, I am too. I'll probably be on live a little bit tomorrow too, just to talk about this weekend's fight if I can. But I will be here Saturday live just to cover the top rank card, right, with Jared Anderson. But I'll try to do like a short like prediction video if I can, or just at least talk about the fights on the card. Hi MD one boxing. What's up with you, bro? How's everything with you, man? I hope everything is good. Um, what's up, Saga? Thank you. All right. So let's go to the next topic, man. And the next topic is let's talk about Joseph Parker, man. Let's talk about him real quick. Parker's he's a funny guy, man. Parker's a really cool dude. I talked about him in a video I did the other day because he called out Dillian White last week in a funny way, right? And I think in the most unique way, right? He made like a funny, friendly call out video, right? Well produced video, and it's like a commercial. You know what I mean? It was like a commercial. I mean, if they had the money to really blow, that would have been a great commercial to have for promo um in between an actual big card. You know, like a Super Bowl commercial. You know how to do Super Bowl commercials where they have all these exclusive best commercials. You know, everybody throws their movie trailers on there and everything. Joseph Parker's call outs has looked like videos that they could put as a commercial, right? But anyway, Joseph Parker did one with Dillian White. And you know, Joseph Parker is like a nice guy, and it's a funny video. But now he did one with Anthony Joshua as well. And you know, I was kind of thinking about it because the way the heavyweight division works right now, especially when the top tier guys, it seems like Turkey Al Sheikh is in charge right now. You know what I mean? He's when it comes to those top 10 guys, he's running the show. He's controlling everything. Right? He's making all the calls. He's calling all the shots right now. You know, and he's gone as far as to saying, like, look, if Tyson Fury is to beat Alexander Usyk, you know, he's working on something where they don't have a rematch or something like that, you know, or at least maybe not Tyson Fury, but he wants the winner to fight AJ. He really doesn't want the rematch to go down, you know, and I have mixed feelings about that. You know, I like it because I think he means well. I think everything he's been doing for the most part is positive. So I think he's doing a better job than what the promoters do. You know what I mean? And I think he has the money to do it. Like he's doing what a lot of fans would do by giving us these matches. So I think for the most part, it's good. I think the one thing that I do fear though is that them not giving, and I don't even know if this is a Turkey Al Sheikh thing. I'm just talking about boxing in the way that we know it and the unfairness of it and the corruption of it. Everybody knows that Usyk has beat AJ twice already. So the demand for a third fight there is not really there. And I don't even know if Usyk wants to fight him for a third time, especially after what happened at the end of the second. He's already beaten him twice. And the end of the second was really ugly and embarrassing for AJ. And it was very awkward. And I'm sure Usyk has no interest in fighting AJ again. With that being said, the biggest fight is Fury and AJ. You know, two British fighters, never fought before. A lot of people feel that that fight would close the chapter on who's the other best fighter outside of, you know, if Usyk were to beat Tyson Fury, he's clearly the guy. You know, I think it's over. You know what I mean? If he's to beat AJ and beat Fury, you know, he never fought Wilder, but I think Fury and AJ did more in their heavyweight careers than Wilder. You know, some of you may disagree with that, but that's just the way I look at it. Um, But the way I look at it is I'm a little concerned as far as, the WBC wanting 6 judges. Shit like that makes me a little bit concerned about how this fight is going to go if it goes to the cards and it happens to be close or competitive. I don't see Usyk winning a close fight. I think he would have to really, really clearly win in order to win. I mean, I hate to say that, um, but it's boxing. I don't want to sit here and act like I'm naive. Like, we already know how the sports go, and everybody wants Fury to win because they want AJ. AJ looks great right now. So everybody wants that fight right now. There's a high demand for that fight. People gonna go with the guy that looks good right now. When AJ wasn't looking all that great, people still wanted the Fury fight, but people didn't want it as much. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Wilder right now. People still want the Wilder and Joshua fight, but people don't want it as much. Why? Because Wilder has not looked that good lately. You know what I mean? So, look, man, the way I see it, Joseph Parker calls out AJ. Now, that's a good rematch, but it's the timing of it because they want to get AJ in there with the winner, of Fury and Usyk. Really Fury. All right, let's just say that. You got Hrgovic, who's the IBF man, though, and he's going to get the belt if the belt is stripped. They're not going to fight. No one's going to fight Hrgovic unless it's Triple D. Let's just be real. Triple D will take it. Nobody's looking to fight Hrgovic, even if he picks up the belt. Those top tier guys are not really looking for that fight right now. You know what I mean? Not because they're ducking him, but they're just looking for a bigger fight. You know what I mean? So Triple D versus Hrgovic, I can see that happening. AJ is actually sitting back and waiting for the outcome of that Usyk Fury fight. Because if there's an opportunity to fight Fury, he's going to go straight for it. And Turkey Al-Sheikh seems to be co-signing that. So that's what you got going on with that. Now, when it comes to Joseph Parker, I thought about this long and hard when I saw the pause for you guys that's doing that. I thought about this when I saw the commercial with Joseph Parker calling out AJ, and I said to myself, I would really like that rematch more so than the Dillian White one. And I know Parker lost them both back to back. And I do believe that the Dillian White fight was a better fight. I did not like the AJ fight with Parker. I thought the referee was too involved. I remember doing a post-fight review of the fight. I thought that the referee was too involved in the fight. He wouldn't let them get it in. Like, he wouldn't let them exchange on the inside. He was breaking them too fast. And I think whenever a ref does that, like Kenny Bayless is known, he's notorious for doing that. As soon as the fight is a phone booth, or not a phone booth, but as soon as they're tying up a little bit and digging and fighting on the inside, like, he jumps in right away and separates them. He doesn't want them to fight. He doesn't want them to punch out of it a little bit. And that sucks because you're taking away a part of the game, like the fight. So that referee that night got too involved for me, and it wasn't a good fight. AJ clearly won, but it wasn't a good performance. He didn't necessarily look great. I thought the both of them could have done more. And I think the both of them really, like, right now, whereas, again, Parker was in his prime at that time, and so was AJ. But I think right now, if you mix the fact that they have been extremely aggressive in their last 2 fights, and they have all the experience already. They already had their losses, their biggest wins. I think the rematch would be a better fight than the first fight. And the reason why I want the rematch between those two more so than the Dillian White was because Dillian White just haven't been doing well. Joseph Parker was falling down that road where I feel like Dillian White is now, but he picked it back up. You know what I'm saying? He picked up a couple of really, really good wins, like phenomenal wins. So Dillian White, outside of the drug allegations alone, I mean, because that's huge, right? Because he's had two in the span of like what, 4 years or so. Things has been rough for him. Like he beat Chisora rematch, knocked him out. Right, Edge Parker beat Chisora in a rematch, beat Oscar Rivas, a guy that many people at that time thought White would lose to. And then the drug allegations came about, and he, it held things up. It really did. And he got overweight. He came back at Fort Murray's walk. Did not look good in that fight. Probably his worst fight ever in his career. The worst he's ever looked in his career. And it's just been downhill since then. And he hasn't found a way to pick it back up, because he fought Walk, looked the worst he's ever looked, but still won. Right? But then he fought Povetkin and got knocked out. Now he came back and knocked out Povetkin, but Povetkin was already old. He had COVID, you know what I mean? So a lot of people didn't give him the credit for that win. I mean, a win is a win, and he avenged the loss. But a lot of people, I'm just talking about the fans. Fans are like, all right, you beat an older Povetkin. He was on his way out. He already had COVID. He wasn't the same guy. And then he got knocked out by Tyson Fury. We all know what happened there. And then he had the Jermaine or Franklin fight. A lot of people thought Jermaine Franklin won the fight. It was a majority decision win, And then he had a drug allegation. So it's like, unlike Parker picked it back up. Parker was taking his losses. He had his performances where he didn't look good, but Parker picked it back up. He rebounded. Joshua had his losses. Had his moments. He went through his stuff, but he picked it back up. Whereas Dillian White, I don't know where to rate him right now. At one point, he was a top 5 guy to me. At one point, I had it like as heavyweight, whatever order you want to put it in. I had Fury, I had Wilder, I had Joshua, I had White, and I had Povetkin for the longest. Those were my 5 guys at one point. Those were the top 5 dudes. And then, wait, what did I say? Yeah, I said White and Povetkin. You could mix it up whatever way. Some people are going to put Luis Ortiz or whatever, or Andy Ruiz. I'm sorry, you could put Andy Ruiz after the Joshua win. But I just think that White needs to win against he needs a respectable win. You know what I mean? Not just against a good opponent, but one that makes people believe that he's still one of them top dudes. Because it's been a while, and he's 36 years old. Can he still pick up another big win? He needs one of those. People saying Gerald Miller. Right now, I look at Parker Head. So I know he wants a big fight, but he needs to let people know that he's still one of those top dudes. And I don't know who he could do that against. I would have loved for him to fight Triple D right now. Triple D would have been great. Zen just said a Martin Bakoli win would do it great for White. Exactly. And we need one of those real wins, like no majority decision, split decision, debatable win. You know what I mean? We need like a legit win. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at Dillian White right now. Like, is he even top 10 right now? I don't even know right now. Top 10? I don't think so. We need to see something. Because that fight against Jermaine Franklin, that wasn't it. Fury, that wasn't it. Povetkin, that wasn't it. It's been a while. I would say the last good win, good performance, really, was Oscar Rivas. And that was a minute ago. And following that was the drug allegations. You know what I mean? Which he was clear for. But you got to mention it. You got to be fair. You got to put everything in full circle. I'm a big fan of Dillian White. I'm a supporter of Dillian White. But the drug charges do mess him up, man. And then some of the scamish, getting your license out in Texas. Like, shit like that makes you question whether or not, like, yo, are you good? And you like, are you doing the right thing or not? Like, what's going on? All right. Sugar Passion says, hey, yo, Wave, have you heard of the reports on RD Nimbo, heavyweight boxer that just fell into a coma recently after this fight? No, I didn't hear about that. All right. But they be put in my notes so I can look it up and do my homework on it, and probably get back to you guys tomorrow if this is true. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to speak on it because I don't know. Um, he said, Saga says, I just realized Parker retired my boy Simon King. And by the way, Sugar Passion, I hope that news isn't true, but you know, I'll definitely follow up because I want to do my homework on that if it is true. All right. Yeah, Simon Keene retired. All right. Well, I've never seen him fight before that fight. Um, before he fought Joseph Parker. All right, but Joshua's gonna wait. And if I'm Joseph Parker, and if he doesn't want to wait, you know, he has options, man. And I think right now, outside of Fury Usyk, and Joshua, maybe any fighter at the heavyweight division should want that kind of fight if the opportunity is there for them. I know Dubois is hunting, he's pushing to go at with this guy Hergovich to put himself back in title contention, which is smart. But right now I would like to see, since AJ is gonna wait, Parker may be fighting he already beat Young, he's beaten Wilder. I don't think he's gonna give Joe Joyce a rematch. Joyce should fight Chisora. They're talking about it, but I like that fight right now. I do. I like that fight right now. I think Bacoli needs a shot somewhere. I think Bacoli deserves a good fight. I think he definitely deserves it. He's the reason why Tony Yoka is retiring. You know what I mean? He's the reason. Like, Martin Bacoli deserves a good shot. He does. So I would love anybody to give him a shot. Honestly. Damn, it is true. Oh, well, rest in peace. Rest in peace. What card was this on? What card was this on? If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna follow up because I don't, we're live, so I want to be able to like look this guy up, do some research on him. I heard he was. It's not official, but I heard that he was looking or thinking about retirement after that last most recent loss. That's what I heard. Rocket says, Wave, what's up, Rocket? What's good with you, man? He says, Wave, do you think the PBC would ever let Bud fight another PBC fighter, or they learned their lesson? Yeah, they would. They would, but it just got to make sense. I think PBC would deal with Bud, but I think they would want him to fight on a multi-fight deal. And I don't think Bud is in that stage in his career. I've broken this down since the time of me even making content. When you're in your 30s, we got some fighters like a Devin Haney who's younger, who's doing it the right way, very young in his career. But guys like Canelo, Cotto, Terrence Crawford, I can name a lot more fighters. These guys that are like big names in the sport, once they get to a certain stage in their career, they'll do multi-fight contracts, but they won't do many long fight contracts. You know what I mean? And they they get to a point where retirement is coming close, and they want to be able to move around to wherever they need to go, and they want to make all options available. All right. So yeah, but I do want to. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Hyam, I'm sorry. I'm just reading you guys comments, and I don't. Just let me get to it when I can get to it. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're saying he's in a coma. Okay, when I saw you say he fell into a coma, uh, I didn't know. You know, yeah, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I just got it confused. All right, but I'll definitely speak on it once I do my research on it. All right, so yeah, the Joseph Parker thing. I don't know. I think these guys should all just kind of outside of Hergovich and maybe Triple D. These guys should wait until after the Fury Usyk. We're coming close to it. We're about a month out. So I think after that fight, because if Usyk and Fury rematch, right? Because we know Turkey is trying to move on, have the winner move on. If they do rematch, then these guys are gonna have to scramble and fight with who's available. And who's available, I think the best way to do it is Hergovich versus Triple D, or Joshua against Hergovich, Joseph Parker against Triple D, or rematch Joshua, something like that. Wilder's supposed to be fighting Young. So we'll go from there. All right, and the last topic I really wanted to speak on today is, I wanted to speak a little bit more on Jerron Moose and his signing to Matchroom. And again, when I did my video yesterday, it was pretty much broken news. I didn't have much time to really speak on it, but I wanted to cover as much ground as I could. What I will say is that I did see an interview with Eddie Hearn. And Eddie is pretty much saying what I was saying yesterday. He's just looking to have Jerron Ennis be as active as possible. Okay. Um, and that's important to me. I think that's the most important thing. Um, he wasn't that active, 3 fights in the last 3 years or so. Not good. I know he fought twice early last year. All right, but he hasn't fought since. And even the year before that, when he fought Castillo Clayton, he stopped him in 2 rounds. That's the one fight he had the whole year. 26 years old. His peers, like guys like Jared Anderson, last you guys got to be fighting at least 3 times a year. You know what I mean? Even if it's not top tier. I named a bunch of people yesterday, like a David Avanesian and Santion and all these guys that I named. I was like, listen, they might not be the biggest names because I think the welterweight division is falling off a little bit, meaning that either guys retired, or they're moving up to 154. You know what I mean? Virgil Ortiz moved up. Keith Thurman was about to fight at 154 or above it at a catchweight. Terrence Crawford is moving up. Errol Spence is moving up. So it's like it's not much there. If he had stayed with the PBC, or if he had signed with the PBC, he probably wouldn't have either gotten who he's definitely getting Crowley, because Crowley is already the man though. And they're going to purse bid. And that's what I wanted to speak on. Cody Crowley is still going to be his next opponent, most likely, and they're going to purse bid, probably like on a week or two. But Cody Crowley, Mario Barrios were like his options over there at PBC. Good fighters, but nothing like wow. Nothing that we haven't seen already. That's not much more than fighting. That's nothing more than fighting Barrios or who did he fight already? He fought Olympians already. He's fought you know Royman and Villa. That's not no real big names. And even if it's not Crawford, or Spence, um, if he were to had getting like a Keith Thurman, at least people would have been like, all right, well, he fight Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? So I think the most important thing is that he's going to be active and he will have a little bit more freedom to fight guys that's outside of just Matchroom, because Matchroom makes fights with Top Rank, with Golden Boy, they're with dazn. There's going to be other options there. So I'm very happy about this news again. Um, I think it's good news. At least it's good news because at least at bare minimum, people have been bringing up Andre since, and I thought about Andre too, because Andre was a fighter that he's one of the fighters that it didn't really work out well with Eddie. Now Eddie paid him, and Eddie kept him active, which I was happy with because Andre was really never that active. He's always had issues um, before he got with Eddie. But one thing about Eddie is that Eddie did keep him active, and he did give him opportunities. He just didn't give him the big names fights. He couldn't secure the big fights, the fights that he really wanted. He didn't secure the Jamal Charlo fight. He didn't secure the Canelo fight. So a lot of people are saying like, what if Boots go there and the same thing happens to him? But I'm like, I really don't know, because you just never know. Like Boots can do 147 and 154. First of all, let's just make that clear. Now, let's say he defends his title here, and let's just say he pushes to try to become undisputed, because all of the fights I think that's available at 147, especially if Crawford moves up and those belts become vacant. If those titles become vacant, those fights can be made for anybody, depending on who's going to get the titles. But those belts will be available at 147, and those fights could be made because it wouldn't be just strictly held by strictly PBC guys. You know what I mean? So I think he can at least bare minimum, maybe not. I don't know if he's going to be undisputed, but at least at bare minimum become unified. And if not, he could just go to 154. And if there's a lane, if he wants Crawford as bad as he claims, not questioning it, I'm just saying, if he wants Crawford that bad, you'll have a fight or two at welterweight and go to 154. And if Crawford has not, it's going to be hard as hell to pick up all the belts, but we know that's what Crawford wants. Put yourself in a position, you're IBF champ now. If you can pick up a title at a WBO, then you can push to become ordered to be a Mando at 154 by going up. So put yourself in a position to collect at least more, at least 2 belts, then move to 154. And that might put you in a position to fight Crawford. You just never know. So I think the main thing I said yesterday too, and I want to reiterate that what I said yesterday, I think the main plus of being with Eddie is, yes, he is getting more of an American viewership. I think dazn is becoming even more popular. And, if you follow boxing on social media in any sense, YouTube, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitter, you got to know who Eddie Hearn at this point is, because Eddie is a promoter that is constantly speaking. He's not sitting in the back waiting for the press conference to come and then to speak on it. No, he is actively promoting his fighters. And I think him having that engine behind him, also having someone that can put you in position, right, and steer you in the right direction to get to these big fights. You want Crawford? Well, I think Eddie can at least advise him on how to get there and what to do and what fights to take and pull some strings to get in there. Plus, we have the Saudi connection. And that was a point I made yesterday. The Saudi connection is huge. You cannot overlook that, because they can put him on these undercards that's going to give him more money and more eyes. He's going to have everybody watching him because now he's on a different platform and he's getting viewership from a different fan base. It's weird because boxing to me, boxing, but to a lot of fans today, a lot of hardcore internet fans, Boxing is what it is based on what platform you're fighting on. And if you were fighting on Showtime, you got to understand that you had a whole anti-agenda, Showtime agenda out there that was against anything PBC related or Showtime related. So now that he's with Eddie, that's the total, that's like the ops to, well, he wasn't with Al Heyman, but it's still the opposite because he was a Showtime fighter. Now you're with Eddie, and now you're getting the eyes and the support from those fans because there's a lot of fans. Oh, it's real wild, but there's a lot of fans that are pro promoter or pro network. They will support a fighter based on where he's at. It's a fact. And it's been like that for a while now. You know, I was calling this issue back when it started to build up, you know, and it really, really popped off when the PBC came about, you know, because there was people that were against it from jump and there was people that was for it from jump, you know, just like when the zone came out, people were against it from jump and then people were for it. So a lot of people that don't like Bob Arum, so they was against Top Rank and their fighters. It's weird, but it really be like that, man. And I don't spend too much time on Twitter, but if you look at Twitter, that's all that's on Twitter. Everybody has a side they're on and they represent because whoever is running it, you know. Yeah, this is live, nerd. What's up, man? Um, yeah, let me just catch up on some of your comments. Saga says, at this point, Boots just need to fight somebody. Well, he's going to probably fight Cody Crowley because just get that out the way. They got Purse Bid coming up. He's your Mando. Get the Mando out the way because once you get the Mando out the way, you're clear to go and do what you want to do. You can have your voluntary fights after that. So, or you can try to unify or do whatever, you know, whatever way you can do it. You know what I mean? But get that out the way. I think that is important. Excuse me. That's what Eddie wants to do. And I think that's the right thing to do. He said Boots is more talented, in my opinion. I'm assuming you're talking about Crawford. Uh, we just gotta wait and see. You know, I mean, I think I don't know. You know, I said yesterday, I think the Boots Crawford prediction is or the Boots Crawford fight is harder to predict than the Crawford Spence fight was. Because I think Boots is just a lot more unorthodox. I don't really know what he's capable of on that level though, because he hasn't fought anyone near that level yet. You know what I mean? But I mean, when I see the eye test and see what he can do, yes, he's capable of doing a lot of things. I mean, he has size, he has power, he has speed, he's super athletic, great reflexes. Um, you know what I mean? He could switch, and he's a constant switcher. I don't know if that's a good thing against somebody like Crawford. It could be a bad thing, you know. Crawford is a puncher, and I don't know if Boots can take his power, but I don't know if Crawford can take his. You know what I mean? We just gotta wait and see. Boo Boo is an example of bad management and the fighter. Yeah, Boo Boo made a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that's happened in his career was his fault. So I agree with that. I already hearing people say Bud is avoiding Boots or something like that. Yeah, people have been saying that as soon as he won the belt against Fury. I mean Spence. I mean literally the next day. All the Spence fans went over to him, you know, but Boots has his own fans too. He does. He has his own fans. So I don't want to just make it seem like he don't got no fans, but I noticed that though. You know, I noticed that. I noticed that. And you gotta understand, you can't get mad at Crawford. He's 36 years old. You guys just pushed a fight that should have happened years ago with Spence. That was pushed back for 5 years. So to finally beat that guy and getting all the credit that you're supposed to be getting all these years, And for somebody else to just come out the next day like, yo, all right, well, now you're ducking him. No, y'all said he was ducking Spence all these years. You know, you were saying that he was either ducking Spence, or you were saying that, like, you know, Spence, he's PBC, he's, you know, Crawford, you over there, you know, stay over there. You know, it was all these kind of agendas that was being pushed. Saga says Boots could be that guy that makes Metro into a major promotion in the States. He has the star potential. I think so too. I think so too. It wasn't really being pushed good enough before. Maybe it could get pushed now. We just gotta wait and see. But yeah, I think so. And I think Boots and his name, him being a welterweight and his name being connected to Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, I think it's good. It's good promo, you know? It's good promo. But he needs to fight, because those little breaks, that just kind of messed everything up a little bit. You know what I mean? He needs fights, and he needs good fights. Malnourished says Boot versus Ben would do serious numbers in the UK. Boots versus Ben would do serious numbers anywhere. But does Eddie put him in here that early? I don't think so. That's a fight I could see happening, but I don't think it's gonna happen right now, because I think Eddie is still gonna try to save Conor. He's gonna try to save him for a bigger fight. I don't see Boots fighting him before Chris Eubank do, even if it's not in the UK. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna save Ben, unless the Saudis come out and jump out the window at some point and just be like, yo, we'll pay you to the fight right now. You know, which they could do for Crawford. They might do that for Crawford. You just never know. Hybrid says Boots has a beautiful jab from both stances. Yeah. I gotta watch him, not watch him more, but I mean study him more. Because I think the difference between Boots and Crawford is that Crawford, to me, and it's been some time now, Crawford is clearly a southpaw, right? Whereas Boots, I'm not sure exactly where he's better at. Is he a better fighting righty, lefty? I don't know. You know, I would have to really study him and say, oh, he's better at this stance. He's clearly better at this stance. See, Boots hasn't been in a fight where he had a struggle for me to see where he's best at. I haven't seen Boots fight someone where he respected them enough to have to put his very best foot forward. And I think at that moment, that's when we'll know more about him. But right now, I still don't know what exactly is his biggest strengths and what's his weaknesses. I don't know. You know, like people like to bring up like the Gamboa fight with Crawford, right? But people like to bring it up in a negative way, like, oh, Crawford was, you know, weight bullying and stuff. But no, if you look at the actual fight, you can see in that fight that Gamboa had the best of him for like the first 3 rounds or so. And it wasn't until Crawford switched to southpaw that we realized that that worked for him. But even in that point, in that fight, because I remember watching it clearly, and I remember doing content on it, even in that point, maybe I thought that it just worked better for him in that fight. I didn't know that he was a better southpaw yet. It took a little bit of time for me to realize, like, oh shit, Bud is better as a southpaw, period. You know, because Bud at one point used to always start out orthodox, and then he would just switch at some point, you know. But then there was certain fights where he would start out as, you know, a southpaw, and I figured maybe that had to do, maybe that was a respect thing. So I can't remember which fights, but you guys know what I mean. Like there are some fights where he switches and he makes adjustments in the fight. I think Kell Brook, he was struggling a little bit against Kell Brook, and then he switched. I think maybe Victor Postal as well, or maybe he started out with Victor Postal as a southpaw. I can't remember. But Boots, even if I were to study him now and rewatch all of his fights, that still wouldn't give me, it still wouldn't answer my questions, because these fighters are not dangerous for him yet. You know, none of them are dangerous. None of them have been. He's been dispatching them easily. And Cody Crowley, I respect him. He's tough. He got a shitload of heart. But I don't think I don't really think he stands a chance. And I really don't think that many people at the welterweight division outside of Crawford stands a chance against Boots right now. I think the biggest challenge for him, and I'm not including Errol, because I don't even know where Errol is right now, and as far as in the ring, and he's not fighting at 447 no more, so I'm not including him neither. But I would say right now, nah, I can't even say him, because Virgil Ortiz moved up. Who's the toughest challenge for Boots right now at 147? I would say Santion, Barrios, Avenesian. It's not much there. 147 division is not what it used to be. Conor Ben, and he's not even there neither. He's at 154. 154 is challenging for both Bud and Boots, in my opinion. And I stressed that the other day when I made the breakdown of the division. This is where the 154 is where everybody loses their O. So if Crawford and Boots and even Errol Spence they're not careful, they will lose up there, because everybody has a bad night up there. The 154, nobody just runs through the division and beats everybody. At least not in the last decade plus. At least the last 12 years or so. No one goes to 154 and just runs through everybody. No one does. No one has done it. Everybody takes a loss. What's up, Young Hollywood? What's good with you, bro? Yeah, Beth. Beth says Bud would capitalize on Boots not knowing how to cut off the ring and adding even more. Well, I agree. I do think that it's just not just about cutting off the ring. I just think Bud and his movement and just his timing, and it could be a problem. It could be, or it might not be. But yeah, Boots didn't know how to cut off the ring against Karen. But we don't know. We could talk and speculate all day. We don't know what's going to happen. But I believe that Boots is more dangerous than Spence. And I'm not just saying because of the outcome of that fight. I'm saying it because the styles. I don't know what Boots is capable of. I need to see that. And I'm not going to get it from Crowley. I'm not going to get it from Mario Barrios. I'm not going to get it from Santion. I think Santion is a good pressure fighter. I think he's a good pressure fighter. But he's fighting someone that's bigger. He's not Alexis Rocha. Stanionis. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Stanionis is top dude. Stanionis is a top dude, but Stanionis has been out the ring for 2 years. That has to be effective. 2 years. He's got to be rusty. You know what I mean? And still, there's a lot of questions about him. We know he has a phenomenal jab. We know he can box. I want to see Stanionis against Boots. But if not, show me what you can do against. He's only really top dude he beat was Butayev. I want to see more. That was a great win. We was here. We did it live. I was hyping that fight up. But that was 2 years ago, bro. You haven't fought anyone since. the Virgil Ortiz was supposed to answer all of those questions. That fight was going to answer a lot of questions for both. You know, but I want to see more from Stanionis. Like, I want to see him against some other people too. So I have questions for all of these guys. But you know, hopefully he gets these opportunities, man. And if Eddie, Eddie needs to throw him on as much cards as he can right now. You know how Top Rank keeps having these guys, all these same guys on the same cards, every single card. He has all the young guys on the cards. You know, put Boots on there, put Andy Cruz on all the cards you can until you can get them a good fight. Keep their ass in the ring. Letting them sit. That's how these guys always end up losing and looking rusty, man. Yeah, Stan been out for 2 years and he's in his prime. Boots not active neither. These guys are wasting their best years. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let me get on out of here, man. Yo, I had a good night chopping it up with you guys. Again, I'll try to jump on tomorrow, just to talk about these weekend's fights if I could. I'll give you an update on the fighter that's in a coma as soon as I do my homework on him. I'm sure there'll be some news tomorrow that I can chat about. So I'll try to get on tomorrow evening if I could. But if not, I'll definitely see you guys on Saturday. I'll be here Saturday for sure because I'm gonna do the Top Rank card. All right. So I'm sure most of you guys are subscribed already. Share the video, like the video. All right. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good night. Peace.